What can you threaten black people with that we haven't already lived through before? We already couldn't go to your schools. We already couldn't live in your neighborhood. We already couldn't shop in your store. We already had to sit in the back of the bus. We already filled out your jail. We already had our zip codes redlined. We already had our votes suppressed. We already had our families separated. We already had our men profiled. We already had our women objectified. What you think you gonna do new that's gonna be able to intimidate us?
Segregation laws, I am here for it. Yes. Donald Trump, did you really sign segregation into law in this generation? This generation and our ancestor generation are two different times, just in case you didn't know that. One thing about this generation is that when it comes to segregation, during this time, we don't give a damn. I'm here for the segregation during this time because most of the time I can't even get inside the club. Shoot, most of the time whenever I go somewhere, I always have looking at me thinking that I'm about to steal something. I'm tired of going to places that I don't even feel welcome anyway, so because I'm tired of getting the side eye, so segregation what you want is what you're gonna get, because guess what? We don't care.
One of the biggest things that I've realized that nobody's talking about when it comes to segregation is that we don't mind it. It's white people that got the problem. Because when y'all realize that we literally don't need y'all get mad. We've created thousands of thriving black cities and countries. Because we can do it without y'all just don't get it. Y'all need to be all up in our space and all up in our mix. For what reason? Because when I've gone to primarily white spaces, I'm sorry, but I'm not impressed. But y'all can't say the same for us. Like, there's been over 100 massacres on black cities and towns simply because y'all are outraged that we can thrive, that we can come together, and that we can do things no matter what the circumstances are. Because last time I checked, it's white people that mainly benefit from government assistance. But y'all love to say it's us, don't y'all? But instead, we can take the bare minimum and create enormous things. Can you not do the same? I guess not, without the government's help.
Rolling back segregation. What are we going to do?
Not one goddamn thing. Not one goddamn thing. I speak for myself, just my personal opinion, but I done speaking about this and I spoke to leaders, and everybody I speak to say it's probably going to be the best thing that ever can happen to black people. A mandate for us to unite without consumption power. We got the greatest consumption power in the world, and you gonna mandate us to unite? Yeah. Ever since we integrated, our economic state has been worse. Our families have been torn apart. And when we made a decision to chose that, we got what we got now. And everybody that I see, that's why you don't hear no outcry from black people about this new executive order about segregation. I don't think we give a damn about it. I know I certainly don't. I ain't for it. I ain't pushing for it, but I ain't to get it.
I keep seeing a whole bunch of people that don't look like me making videos saying that we need to do something, we need to march. No, we do not. We don't need to do nothing. The same way Target played and we took away that dollar, we'll just take away our dollar from everybody else who wants to play in our faces and play with us. Go ahead and put them signs up. We don't care nothing about that segregation. Put them signs up so we can take away our dollar and you can learn just like Target learned. We do not care. We are resting for the next 4 years. We're resting, honey. We don't care nothing about what y'all do. We don't care.
Family, when people bring up segregation today, they often frame it as a threat, as if the mere idea of separation should automatically produce fear or even submission. But what's fascinating is that the historical record tells a very different story, family. Now, segregation in the United States was designed as a system of control. It was meant to isolate black communities from resources, from opportunities, and even political power. And so the architects of that system believed that limiting access to education, education, housing, transportation, and even economic mobility would weaken an entire population. And so, family, the goal wasn't just separation, the goal was hierarchy. Yet something unexpected happened, family. Instead of disappearing under pressure, Black communities built entire parallel systems of survival and even achievement. And so during the era of legal segregation, Black Americans established their own businesses. They established banks, schools, and even professional networks. And so entire economic ecosystems emerged in response to exclusion. Cities across the country had thriving Black businesses, districts where doctors, lawyers, teachers, and even entrepreneurs and artists created opportunities despite being locked out of mainstream institutions. And so communities that were meant to be marginalized ended up producing resilience, producing creativity, and even cultural influence that shaped the nation itself. Now, this doesn't mean segregation was harmless. Far from it. It inflicted enormous injustice, violence, and even inequality, but it also failed to achieve the psychological outcome its supporters expected. And so, family, the system was supposed to break confidence and even enforce permanent inferiority. Instead, it created generations of people who understood how to organize, who understood how to adapt, and even build under pressure. And so, that historical memory is still present today, family, and it explains why the idea of segregation doesn't trigger the same fear some people assume it should. And so another reason these conversations spark such strong reactions is because the original narrative about segregation framed it as something that only harmed one side, but history shows that systems built on exclusion eventually harm everyone involved. And when societies invest energy in division instead of shared progress, innovation slows, trust erodes, and even social stability weakness. And that's part of why the civil rights movement wasn't just a moral turning point, it was also a turning point for the country's economic and even cultural development. And so today's reactions online often reveal a deeper tension, family. When people see Black communities responding to old threats with confidence instead of fear, it disrupts long-standing expectations, and the narrative that once depended on intimidation doesn't work as effectively where people understand their history and their resilience. And so knowledge changes the psychological dynamic, and once a community knows it has survived worse and still contributed profoundly to society, the power of fear loses its grip. And there is also a generational element to this conversation. Younger generations, regardless of background, are far more aware of historical patterns and even social dynamics than many people were those of the decades ago. And information travels faster, family. Archives are accessible online, and historical debates that once happened quietly in classrooms now unfold publicly across social media platforms. And so this has created a moment where old assumptions are being questioned in real time. Ultimately, what we are witnessing is not just an argument about segregation or separation. It's a larger debate about how societies remember history and how that memory shapes present day reactions. And when people understand the past clearly, family, certain threats lose their power. When communities recognize their own resilience, fear becomes harder to manufacture. And that's why this conversation keeps resurfacing, family. Because history doesn't just sit quietly in textbooks, it lives in collective memory, in cultural identity, and in the way people respond when old ideas reappear in new forms. And so the past teaches lessons, sometimes uncomfortable ones, about what worked, what failed, and what humanity should never repeat.